Hello, check. This is live. Okay. So, hello. Hi, everyone. Good night. Let me just check it. Okay, the mic is on. There. Hi, good evening. How's your Friday night? You're spending it here with me on our workshop. Let's just wait for a minute or two for more people and then we'll start our workshop. So, if you're listening and if you have any questions later, you can type it in the chat, but let's leave it to the last part for a Q&A session for your questions. But in case if you want to type it, you can just type it in the chat and I'll be able to see it and then we'll answer it by the end of the workshop. So let's just wait for a few more minutes for more people to join our workshop. So I think this is actually the third or fourth workshop already of Rosion, because part of our goals is to also not influence but share more information about blockchain, about communities, anything related to our project in general to the communities to help them grow and of course share with them the knowledge of our team members because this presentation is actually made with the help of our community managers. So I am the social media manager. So basically, I'm in charge of writing the content for announcements on Twitter, Facebook, and Discord. And the original workshop was actually held in Vietnamese. It was handled by our head of community managers, Miss Dada Zuan. So this will just be the English version of that workshop. So, in case if you're Vietnamese and you've already attended it, this will of course have similar content. But if this is your first time, of course, if you're from the global community, if you're English speaking or couldn't understand Vietnamese, and then of course, welcome to our workshop. So, our topic will be about how to build a crypto community. Hi, Talha, one of our very active community members. I think you won the village chief last week, right? Welcome to our workshop. You can invite your friends to join and, of course, learn more about Prozion and how to manage the community. Who knows, maybe since you're so active in the community, you can learn the skills of being a community manager in this workshop, because we'll also include some tips about how to be a good community managers in this workshop. Hi, welcome again. I'm seeing more viewers to our workshop. So again, this is Kat. I am the social media manager of Rosian World, and today's topic is about how to build a crypto community. So again, if you have friends who might be thinking of creating their own community, or is thinking of being a community manager, either as a part time or full time, you can invite them to join our workshop today. This will be a live recording, but you can also watch the stream later, and share it to your friends or share it to your social media. So let's just wait for a few more minutes, but we'll start at around 9:15. Well, it's the time here in the Philippines, so we'll start in around 2 to 3 minutes. So since it's Friday night, you can either grab a beer, a drink, and then, or eat, have a dinner, or whatever time is it in your place while listening to our workshop. Hi, Cami. Hmm. Earning money during the bear market. Well, I guess that can be a topic maybe for another workshop of Rosion. But in case for me, well, I guess it really depends on what type of investments we have. Because for me, I'm into GameFi. So, I've been a gamer ever since I think 5 years old. So when GameFi hit crypto space. I've been doing that. So just by playing games, I can still earn a few of their tokens. So that's one way I'm still earning even in the bear market. But I also am staking some of my Roson tokens in Wonder app, of course, and holding other tokens. Okay, so I think let's start our workshop. So hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever location you are from. So, again, this is Kat. That's my nickname. Everyone at work calls me that, and I also use it online. But my real name is Anne Atayan. So, currently, I am the social media manager slash copywriter of Rosie and World. So, what I do is mostly draft the announcements or writing some articles for Rosian World. Again, for the new viewers, I've mentioned that this is actually already the third or fourth workshop of Rosion, but this would be the first English one. So how to build a community, our community manager head, Miss Dada, already held one workshop around, I think it was in May or April. So this is just the English version of that. So let's start. So for after this workshop, or what will you learn in this workshop, is to understand the different types of crypto communities, learn how to build and maintain your own community, learn the skills and requirements for a community manager in case you are one or you want to be one, and then get ideas on what to run to keep your communities active. So this is an all-in-one workshop. So we're not just catering to a community member. We're catering whether you're a member, whether you're a project group, whether you're a community manager. So there's a lot to learn on this workshop. So for the contents, we'll just briefly introduce Rosian World in case, of course, you just found this video on the internet and you have no knowledge who Rosion is. So we'll just briefly introduce our project, some community basics. So this will include the different types of communities, building a community. Will have a portion about community managers, and then community activities, as I've mentioned, and of course, closing remarks in case everyone wants to do a question and answer portion. So for about us, so we are called Rosion World. Sometimes it's just shortened to Rosion, but the Rosion World is the entire ecosystem covering our products. So the main goal of Rosion is to simplify our crypto our users' crypto journey. So this is done with our Wonder app. So we first launched a CDFI app, and then it evolved into this all-in-one application that our application now has Launchpad, we have GameFi, we have NFTs. Soon we'll have our own game shop or game store and NFT marketplace. So it's really an all-in-one application, and that's called Wonder App. And then part of our big project in this year and then in the upcoming years would be our very own metaverse called Wonderland. So just some statistics. So Wonder app, as I've mentioned and introduced earlier, we have over 120 downloads. That's for both Android and Apple. And then on a daily basis, we have around 5,000 active users. That's either playing our mini games, doing staking, or farming, or even just monitoring their tokens in app. So for our social media, so we on Twitter we have more than 80,000 followers, And then for Telegram and Discord, this is a combined community. So we have our global Telegram, we have our Vietnamese Telegram that mainly caters to our Vietnamese community, and of course our Discord. So cumulative, there's about 35,000 members. And then for our website, in case it's just an investor looking into updates about Rosion or a search from the internet. According to Google Analytics, our website, which is rosion.world, has over 35,000 monthly visitors. So these are just the statistics that shows you we know what we're talking about on this workshop on how to build a community, because we have it's not the biggest, but it's a big community. So, some basics about community. Again, what is a community? This is a definition from Merriam-Webster, so it's quite lengthy. So, it's a group of people with a common characteristic or interest living together within a larger society, or it is an interacting population of various kinds of individuals in a common location. So it's quite lengthy and hard to memorize. So we'll just get some key points. So what are the key points in this definition? So these are just the highlights. So it's a group of people, common characteristic or interest. There needs to be interaction. It needs to be various kinds of individuals, could be various people from different countries or different professions, and you need to have a common location. So let's just further expound into these highlights from the definition. So, what can be group or the individuals that can be part of your community? So, it can be investors, traders, your partners, the project team. Of course, they are also part of your community. Some KOLs or influencers. And then what can be the characteristic or interest that gathers this group of individuals? It can be about a it can be about crypto market. Of course, we are our workshop today is how to build a crypto community. So the interest would have to be related to crypto market, or it can be about the project, like Rosion community. They are about the Rosion project. And then interaction, there needs to be interaction in these group of people. It can be shown in day-to-day communication between the members. They can be following or sharing updates. There can be AMAs, campaigns, events, airdrops, or giveaways. And then, of course, for location, your community has to have a location. In case of a crypto community, it can be either in Telegram, it can be in Twitter, Discord, or Facebook group. And then I think in some countries, the COVID restrictions is being lifted. So I've actually been seeing some meetups or like gathering of crypto communities. So I think there's one held in Singapore lately. So those can still be called a crypto community, those types of gatherings. So next, again, what are the different types of crypto community? So for projects, as I've mentioned, Rosion is also its own community. So projects like Rosion, Kalo, Fadogo, they are projects, and their own communities is a project community. There can also be communities of a venture capital. For example, if you have or if you are part of a venture capital, um, you'll have either a Twitter, a Facebook page, or a Telegram group that shares updates about what your VC is investing on or what upcoming um, IDOs or IAOs there are. There can also be a KOL or influencer communities, launchpad communities, and exchanges. So the type of people, the type of interaction and the activities that you see from these different types of communities differs from each other, because if it's a KOL and influencer community, for example, they won't have they won't be sharing about meme contests, or they won't be sharing about like most active community. They'll be sharing what project is looking for influencers, or what project are they promoting at the moment. Maybe they want to recruit more people. So the type of community dictates the type of interaction and activity there is in that community. So now we're going to the how to start a community part. So whether you're an individual and you want to um, form a group for a niche, or if you're starting a company or a project, a startup, and you want to start your own community, whether in Telegram. So here are some steps that you can follow. So first of all, determine the type of community that you want to create. So we already mentioned earlier the different types of communities. It can either be like just a group chat, that's still a community, a group chat of investors, or a group chat of supporters of a project, or you want to start your own project community. So once you determine the type of community you want to create, you want to start adding more members or inviting um, more people to your community. This is done by marketing activities. If you are part of a big team, you might have your own marketing team, so you need to coordinate with them. Or if you're an individual, you can do it alone, or you can hire freelancers to do the marketing for you. And then when the community is big enough, so who decides how many members is big enough? That really depends on you, because as I mentioned, if you're alone, maybe even having 50 members of your community is already hard to handle. But if you're a team, maybe 100 or a few thousands would be big enough. And that's the time that you will hire community managers or admins, depending on how you will call it. We'll have another part later on what is the role of community managers in your community. And then once you have, again, you have your community, you have marketing activities, you have community managers helping you manage the community. And then that's the time that you maintain it. So you have to ensure there's continuous interaction, there is continuous activity in the community, of course, to keep to retain your members, or even attract new members to your community. So, what is the day-to-day operations of a community, or when handling a community? So, this is just what Rosion is doing to their community. So, you can create threads related to the project, or it can be about crypto news. You will see some of our community managers sharing daily crypto news from the internet, or from news sites. Then part of the operations is also to maintain and monitor interactions within the community, the size of the community also. Because if you just, talk randomly, and you don't really monitor how big or the quantity of your community is, you might not notice you're actually losing members daily. So you have to set a goal. For example, like this month or this week, I want to get 50 more members to my community, or by the end of this month I want to reach 1000 community members or 1000 followers. So you have to maintain and monitor that number. And then of course, you have to build a close and friendly relationship with your community members. um, we will discuss this further later, but um, as a community manager, especially if you're a community manager, you can't fight with your members, even if they're fooders. Like fear, uncertainty, doubt. If they're spreading food, you can't fight them. You can just say them like go away or like stay away from our community. You have to be calm and friendly and still explain to them properly. And of course, worst case scenario, if it's really just food or random spam, we can definitely ban that person or even that bot. And then part of the operations also is to collaborate with KOLs and influencers to attract new members. This part is actually more of a marketing activity because KOL and influencers, they'll have their own following. They might even have their own community. So contacting them and getting them to either do a feature with you, either just a shout out, or a live AMA, a voice AMA, that would attract their community or their followers to your community. So the next part is incorporate community ambassadors in your strategic marketing. Some people may confuse KOL influencers versus community ambassadors. They might say it's just the same. What's the difference? So KOLs is, as I said, it's more of a marketing tactic. Um, a KOL you contacted may just be it might just be an influencer. They won't be, after that interaction, they won't really be part of your community. That might be like just a one time feature, a one time shout out. But having your own community ambassador, your community ambassador can be a KOL and an influencer, or they can just be a regular member of your community. So community ambassadors, it's more of a community activity. They're part of your community. They're not just someone that you either contacted to do a shout out. They will stay with you for a long time to help you promote and maintain your brand. So that's the difference, at least, between community ambassadors and having KOLs and influencers. And then for the next part, so we're now here for community managers. Again, if you're thinking of becoming a if you're thinking of becoming a community manager, or if you are a community manager either for Rosion or for other projects, so here's some things that you can learn from. So what are community managers? So being an admin, moderating, if it's a group chat or if it's a group, it might seem easy, but there are underlying tasks and goals and KPIs that are set for community managers. So, what are their roles? So, their roles is to liaison between the project and the community. Basically, become the bridge. They are the bridge between the project and the community. So, whatever the project wants to communicate to the community, to their users, to their followers, it will be the community managers who will be the middleman of it. And then they're also there to provide basic support. For example, for Rosion, we have our support email, support@rosion.finance or rosion.world. But before you contact our email, or you send an email, you can message or you can chat with our community managers in our Telegram or Discord, and they will be there to provide you basic support or basic troubleshooting. So basically, they're the first level of support. And in case it's really a technical concern or something that our developers has to look into, and that's the time that you have to contact our support email. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the day-to-day job of maintaining a community is to have interaction with your community members. So if your community is being idle or there's not much happening, it's part of the role of community managers to have the skill to either start a conversation or open a topic, or just um, greet and ask our members how their day was. And then if it is a global project, for example, Rosion, it is a global project, but a big part of our community is, of course, from Vietnam. And then we also have a lot of users from Turkey. So we've actually hired community managers from those parts of the world. So we have local community managers that will help translate our announcements or our articles into the local language. So I'm seeing a lot of questions, but as I mentioned, you can type them here. And then once we are in the question and answer portion part, we'll answer them one by one. So you can just drop your questions here if ever you've thought of one, and then we'll get to it later. Let's finish the workshop first. So those are the roles of a community manager. So let's get more in depth on community managers. So this is more for a project, or if you are a head managing community managers, if you have a few people under you. So how do you manage community managers? So you have to decide on a shift and schedule, because for example, like I said, Rosion is a global project, so we run almost 24/7. So we have to ensure that there is a support or a CM admin available almost 24/7. So we set shifting and schedules for our CMs. So there's someone, if you're from Asia, there's someone to cater to you during your working hours. If you're from Turkey, as I mentioned, we have a CM from Turkey. They have a support during their working hours, or even if you're from Western countries. So we have um, community managers on active shift almost 24/7. So the next part on managing CMs is you need to set up a frequently asked questions or guidelines for your CM. So this will be what your CMs will refer to. For example, as I mentioned, they provide basic support. So if you have a set of FAQ, the CM can just easily control F or read through that FAQ and see if there is an answer. Some examples can be about the vesting schedule. For example, we just launched Elf Matrix recently. Part of your FAQ now would be if a community member asks when would be the TGE or how is the vesting schedule. So you can add these information on your frequently asked questions handbook, or even a Google Sheet, however you manage, and then share it to your community managers. Guidelines can be more in depth. It can be like something that they can follow. For example, if you have specific rules, for example, here in Rosion, we know our community members talk about our price a lot, but we are actually legally bound that we cannot talk about our price in our community. So you will see our CMs telling you guys, we can talk about this in the community, or let's stop talking about the price. So it can have general feedback, like we're on a bear market, or it's pumping, or it's going down. But anything specific about the price action, we are actually legally bound not to talk about that. So if you're also managing a group of admins, or when you're hiring a group of admins, you have to think, or you have to look for certain skills in a CM. So these are just some skills that you can look for. For example, They should have experience or skills in hosting. This can either be live or text or voice AMA, basic conversational. So if they're part of a global group, you should ensure that they can at least have conversational English level. If they're part of the local group, again, that would be fine. They can converse in local. But if you're hiring, for example, if you're hiring a Vietnamese or a Turkish admin, and you want them to be part of the global community, you have to ensure that they at least know how to hold conversation in English. And as I mentioned, part of the duties of a CM is to translate articles. So they need to have basic writing skills. And if it's a support or technical group, there are some communities like that. You have to ensure that the CM has basic knowledge on how to provide technical support. And of course, last but maybe the most important part on handling community managers would be to set up KPI or OKR. So KPI is key performance indicator. OKR is basically objective and key results. So whichever one you prefer to use, or how to manage your community managers, at least you need to set up one. Okay, so I'm seeing, sorry, I saw one comment like a long term career job can get out of the project. So I think that's more of a question about being a community manager. Is that correct? Yeah, let's just drop your questions later, and then we'll discuss it later on. So next part. So these are just expounding on the skills that I mentioned. So skills on communication, some guidelines. These are what Rosion follows for its community guidelines. So we're just sharing it. So maybe, if you're part of a project community, you can use this. You can use it as a template, or if you're a community member, you'll finally know, oh, that's why they're restricting it. Like as I mentioned, we are restricting mention of token price and action. So maybe before you're wondering, I wonder why let's say El Nino is always stopping me from talking about the price of Rosion. So this is actually the reason why. So we are not allowed to talk about it. Community managers are not allowed to discuss it. So it's part of our guidelines. And then some skills again is to create open topics, open conversation with the community. You have to build a close relationship with the community. This is optional, but we actually have this. So if you have VIP members, for example, Rosion, for our VIPs, we actually have a separate group in Discord. So if you're a VIP and you're not part of that Discord yet, you can contact our community managers and we'll add you to that group. So what makes a VIP or a private group different from just your regular community or chat group? So private or VIP groups, they're the ones that really support the project. And in Rosion's sense, so our VIP group, you can directly talk to our CEO there. You can get direct support from our devs. If you're having a problem, they can directly attend to you in real time, or at least update you periodically on the status of your concern. And then going back to the skills, as I mentioned, you have to use gentle words and avoid being angry or sarcastic or fighting with your community members, because community is what decides if really a project can be successful or not, because your community is basically also your investors. So your investors, they're two types. You have either your venture capitals investing on you, but in the long term, your community members is the one that would really make or break your project. And then last is you have to listen to the community and gather feedback. So as I mentioned, this all of these guidelines is being done by our community managers. So whatever feedback or suggestions or even complaints that you mention in our community chat, whether in Telegram, in Discord, or in Twitter, we actually gather those, and then weekly on a meeting our community managers discuss on how to improve the community based on those gathered information. So the next set of skills that we'll discuss would be about writing and translation. So if you're still a small community, sometimes your community managers or sometimes your personnel can be multitasking. So your CM or your admin can also be your social media manager. So this is again for smaller projects, for startups. So we're just sharing some skills or some guidelines that they can also follow. So for articles or even for conversation starters, you have to come up with attention grabbing hot topics. So you can't really share, let's say, oh, the price of F is going down, or the price of Bitcoin is, let's say, 30K. That's old news. So you have to be updated with the news in the crypto space. And then next would be each translation or content should include links to the project. So as you can see on our Telegram announcement channel, so we have that part of Rosion World links. So we actually have a link tree. It's basically a collection of all the links. So if you click on that part, if you click on that link, it would lead you to this website that has a link to our Telegram, to our Discord, Twitter, website. All of the related links of Rosion can be found on all of our announcements. And then next, translation. Oh, this is should not. Translations should not be word per word. So, for example, as I mentioned, we have a global group and we have a Vietnamese group. So, our CMs, if they're translating our announcements from English to Vietnamese, they don't just copy paste it and then maybe use Google Translate. What they do is they understand the thought or the essence of the post or the article, and then they have to construct their own sentences based on their understanding. So it's not a simple Google Translate, because if you're just using Google Translate, it might not do proper translations, or they might be wrong translations or wrong ideas based on just Google. And then the last tip or guide would be adding some emojis or graphics, banners, whatever you call it, banner, posters, graphics to your post, whether it's an article, a tweet, or announcement, can get more attention, because there's a lot of studies. If your post is too lengthy, or there's a lot of words, people would just scroll past it. But if you have a really attention grabbing picture that just shouts at you, or whether it has like a summary of your announcement, then you'll get more people to read your announcement. And then the next part, some skills, is about AMA. So AMA or other activities. So this is like, as I mentioned, a guideline on how to set up an AMA session or other activities like mini games, because in Rosion we have mini games or quizzes. So this is a guide on how to do those activities. So first, you have to decide a time and schedule, and then you have to cooperate this with your guests. So if you're an EMA, you have to cooperate with your project. You either set, if you're using Google Calendars, you have to set it. You have to set a calendar invite or a Zoom invite. And then, for example, for Rosion, if it's activities, for Rosion community, we have a weekly activity set every Saturday night. So you have to have a set time and schedule for your community to follow. So next would be the next few parts is on how to make your poster. So of course you have to gather information if you're inviting a marketing manager or the CEO of a project. You have to get their name or the name that they want to show on your poster. You have to get their pictures if they're using like pictures, or some project use like animated images of themselves. So you have to get those those files directly from the project or the personnel themselves. And then, of course, if you have your creative or design team, that's the time that you ask your design team to draft the posters. And then for announcement, always announce your activity 48 hours before the event. So in AMAs, we usually post it on Twitter so our users or community members can ask questions about the community. So you have to give your community members time to either prepare or anticipate your activity. And then if there are if the AMA will be in another language, for example, if we're hosting the AMA in our Vietnamese community, but we know there will be English speakers there, or maybe our speaker is not a Vietnamese, we will have to make sure that there's someone in the EMA or someone part of the team that can translate it for them, whether it's from Vietnamese to English or English to Vietnamese. You have to also consider those personnel in your AMAs. And then if there are prizes, the last part is you have to collect and announce the winners within 48 hours. So this is actually the rule that we set for all of our activities. You will see whenever we announce the winners of whether it's a mini game or AMA questions, we always add the tag. Please submit your information within 48 hours. So why just 48 hours? Because of course, we have day-to-day activities and we have a lot of activities. If we just wait for example, we have 5 winners and only let's say one winner contacted us within 48 hours, we can't really wait for the 4 other people, because that just means either they're not interested with the rewards or they didn't really see our announcement. So you have to follow these rules and set guidelines. So if you're a community manager or if you're on the project side, you have to manage your time properly. So I think that's the last part of the community managers and the skills that you need to look for in a community manager. So this is more of the second to the last part of our workshop. So this part discusses community activities that you can hold to keep your, again, the purpose of community activities is to keep your community engaged, to either retain or attract more community members, and of course, to reward the community members for their patronage or for their support. So, some examples, these are from Rosion's very own activities. So, for the point that I mentioned to reward the community for their patronage, we had this. This is I think in some other communities this is like a most active community member contest or whatever they call it. But for Rosion, we called it Village Chief of Rosion World. I think one of our viewers, Talha, is here with us. So he actually won last week's Village Chief. So he was the most active and most helpful community member last week. And then we actually have one this week still. And the announcement of the winner would be next week. So, if you want to fight for that village chief title, you can see if you can be more active than Talha and just communicate with our community members daily until Monday. So Monday is the announcement of the new winners or the new village chief. So there's still enough time, I think. It is still Friday. There's still weekend and then Monday to at least fight with Talha. So other activities would be mini games or quizzes. So for Saturday or Friday nights, we usually hold either a game night. So some ideas. I think both Discord and Telegram have bots that gives you a set of games that you can play in your community, and that's actually what we use in our game nights. And then for Telegram quiz, it's a learn to earn session. So um, the most points so wins. I think we get top three for both the learn to earn and our mini games. And then other activities would be a meme or sticker contest. So you see this in a lot of projects, and you will really get a lot of new members from this because I think, of course, I'm also a community member of a lot of other projects. So it's one easy way for a community member to earn. And if they're funny enough or if they're creative enough, they can get airdrops by winning this meme contest or sticker contest. So I think for Rosion, one sticker set that we usually use in the community is actually from a sticker contest. So that's made by one of our community members. So next activity would be AMAs. So this can either be AMA for your partners. So for example, for Rosion, whenever we launch projects or we partner with other projects, we at least hold one AMA in the global community and the Vietnamese community, and then to update our users about the project. There's also these AMAs with the Rosion team members. And then another activity, as I mentioned, this is the third or fourth workshop of Rosion. Some activity that you can do would be workshops. So this is the original Vietnamese workshop that our head of community did back in April. So this is just the English version of it. And then okay, so we're actually at the Q&A part. So let's first discuss, or let's first answer some of the submitted questions on the Google form. So when we announced about this workshop, we asked our community members to submit some questions that they have either for Rosion or for the community. So let's there's only three. Let's answer those first, and then we'll touch on the questions of the community. So how's everyone doing so far? That's like I think 30-45 minute workshop. So I hope it's not like info overload. So as I mentioned, this live stream is you can still watch it again later If you want to go back on some parts, or if you want to refresh your memory, you can still watch the stream using the link that we provided. Sorry, my cats are fighting. Okay, sorry. Sorry if you can hear them. So let's go to the questions now. So the first question is, I have a simple question about building community. What are the upcoming plans to attract more users into Rosion? And what if the metaverse trend goes away? Will you change your trend accordingly, apart from farming and staking? So this is a question from Ruhel. So on the part about attracting more users, I think this is covering our marketing plan. So if you've read or attended our AMA sessions before, we've already discussed that our marketing plans there. So just to reiterate, so everyone knows we're in the bear market. Bitcoin is down to its 20K. It might even lose that support. It might even go down further. But despite how the market is, how bad the market is, or despite the price action of our token, we're here continue building our product. We're still developing Wonder app. We're still developing Wonderland. We're looking for more partners, so we're here to stay, and we're not just gonna take your money and run away from it. And like the recent what do you call this, the recent issues that you've hear in the community, so we're not gonna do that to you guys. So we're here to stay and to develop the our products. So as for upcoming plans, so we have more partnerships incoming. I think we just announced one partnership with Blocks earlier. So Abby was discussing it to the community, having 100% token unlock during TGE. So I think that would invite a lot of investors, new investors, to Wonder app for that launch, because it's a very exciting project. If you're into metaverse, it's one good gateway to the metaverse. So next, the question about what if the metaverse trend goes away. So our CEO Alan actually mentioned during the AMA that the market is not really ready yet for how big um, or how good a metaverse project really is, because we've seen a lot of metaverse projects left and right. But what happens is that after their launch, or um, after some activities, the metaverse becomes empty. So it's just, it's just a theme park. For example, it's just a theme park with no visitors. So like what our as I mentioned, like what our CEO said, so because the market is not ready yet for a metaverse, a really big metaverse project, we're actually slowing down on our um, development of Wonderland. But it doesn't mean that we're not doing metaverse or Wonderland. We're just slowing down and diverting our attention to what the community really wants. Because, for example, we recently held a poll on Twitter and on Telegram. So we asked the community, what should Rosion focus right now during the bear market? And surprisingly, the top one of the top answers is to have a Web3 capability, like a wallet like MetaMask. So we're actually looking into that. So in terms of changes. So Rosion, our roadmap has actually, it's not changed for the worst, but changed for the better. Because if you've been part of the Rosion community since the start. We're just a CDFI bridge. We launched Rosion Finance app. That's how it's called before. We launched the app with that goal. But now Wonder app, it's an all-in-one application. So we've changed our roadmap and developments to cater to what our community wants. And if the community doesn't want to have a metaverse, or they want to delay it at a later date, and then we'll follow what the community wants, because we're really a community first project. So we really listen to what our community wants. So I hope that answers the question. The next question is about ambassadors. So I think I discussed this part about ambassadors earlier. I think, let's see. I think there are some questions relating to ambassadors also. Requirements needed to be a Rosion brand ambassador. I think I'll defer this. Maybe we'll reply to this with when I discuss this with Dan, our marketing head, because I think we had a um, like an ambassador campaign before. Some of the requirements is you need to have, like, I think around, if you have a Twitter account or a YouTube account, I think one of the requirements was at least to have 2,000 to 3,000 followers. But of course, this is in the past, so we are postponing some of our marketing campaigns because of the bear market. So we might change some requirements, or we might change some aspects of our ambassador program. So let me just get back to you later about this, Talha. So I'll just postpone answering this later on. So let's see more about ambassadors. Okay, so I think that's the part about ambassadors. So the next question from our Google form is: do you plan to keep the marketing for bringing more users? And do you have any big announcement for users in this bear market, which brings more potential new users to join Rosen? I think this is similar to the first question. So, as I mentioned, we just announced our upcoming Launchpad partner. So, of course, that would bring more users from their community to our community. We've been hinting about partnership. So if you're familiar with the icon, it is very obvious. So we're partnering soon with Beefy Finance. So we don't have a date to mention yet, because we're still preparing for that. But that's one of the biggest partnerships that we have, especially now during the bear market. So it's something big that users can look forward to. So some marketing, we have our beta test for Goblin's Attack ongoing. And thanks to our community, you've been sharing post clips on it on Twitter and Facebook or TikTok. So we've actually received a lot of questions on, because if you're not whitelisted, a warning will pop out to you have to purchase a character first. So we've received a lot of complaints about that pop-up error, and we've told them that, oh, it's actually only available to whitelisted user. So there's that interest to play in the Goblins Attack game. So I think some of the feedback is that it's a lot more technical as compared to our first mini game, Zombie Warriors. So because it's challenging, that would make them play it more, or would require them to play it again and again. So as I mentioned already about the savings, upcoming savings and farms, so we're adding more partners. So IAO, I already mentioned that. And then for game related updates, so we have our game store upcoming soon. So you can purchase characters for zombie warriors, or that's something to look forward to. But if you're asking about major marketing campaigns, we've seen a lot of questions about you should contact a famous KOL, or be featured in one of the top YouTube channels in crypto. So where we're slowing down on marketing, what's the right term, like expenditure for marketing, especially here during the bear market. Because any project, actually, if you attend their AMA, they'll tell you that they're slowing down on marketing, because if you spend on marketing, and even if your price goes up a bit, here in the bear market, people that would just get people to sell tokens, because they want to save themselves from the bear market. They'll either sell what tokens they have and then go to stable coins, or you know buy Bitcoin or Ethereum while the price is down. So we're actually just waiting for the market to get better. And that's the time that you'll see more marketing campaigns, more KOLs, more influencers partnering with Rosion. But recently, as you can see, we've actually already contacted a few KOLs. So if you search on YouTube or Facebook, or even Google, you should see some KOLs or influencers doing features about Rosion recently. So we're not stopping, but we're just slowing it down because it's the bear market. So I think that's the last part. Yeah, so let's answer questions from our live viewers. Let's see here. Let's go back to the top. Um, how to earn money in the bear market. So actually have an article about this. You can search it on our website. How to safely earn during the bear market. So we discussed this already in an article. And the next part. Let's see here. I have no crypto knowledge. Can I do a marketing job in a crypto industry? I think this specific question, we can apply it, even if it's not a crypto industry, in job hiring in HR. Because actually my experience before working for Rosion, so I've been working for Rosion for close to 9 months now. But before that, I am working for corporate work. So I'm part of a supply chain team. So even if you don't have, I wouldn't say you shouldn't have crypto knowledge. You should have at least basic. It's quite easy. You can Google is there for us. YouTube is like a treasure trove of information. You can find like 1 hour, 4 hour videos saying this is just the video you need to learn about trading or to learn about blockchain. So you need to have at least basic knowledge if you want to start applying for crypto related position. So, if you've already been a marketing personnel before, whether you're marketing doing it for e-commerce, or, if you're part of a marketing team of a corporate company, you can definitely start your job in a crypto space, but at least have basic knowledge. Because if there's an interview and they ask you, what do you know about crypto? If you say, oh, I don't know anything, it's like you went to war without a gun. you came unprepared. So it's all about preparations and understanding what you're entering. So I hope that answered your question. Next, um, I actually don't understand this part. Can you talk about how the seeding team works to get the best results? I don't think I understand. Is this about um is this about our vesting schedules? You can ask this again maybe in the community. I'm not sure if I'm understanding this properly. So I might give the wrong answer if I mention anything at the moment. So next part, is it easy to make or to become a community manager? So what are the requirements to be able to become a CM? So we've already discussed this in the workshop on the skills, basic skills you need to have to become a community manager, or in case you're looking for one, some of the skills you need to look for in a community manager. Um, is it easy? I guess it depends on um it all depends on you, because actually before I became part of Rosion, um I've been a community manager of a few other projects. And personally, again, this is just for me personally, I like talking to people. So it's easy in a sense for me, because it's just natural to talk to people, because well, the projects that I was a community manager before are games, are GameFi projects. So I've mentioned at the start of this workshop that I am actually I've been a gamer all my life. So since we're talking about games, about GameFi, it's natural to me. That's why it's easy for me. So whether it's an easy or a hard job, I think that would all depend on you, because you can succeed as a CM if you just follow the guidelines or the KPIs. As long as you meet the KPI set to you by your manager or by the project, and then you can succeed as a community manager. Is this a long-term career job? I think, well, if in terms of career job, I think if you're just looking for part-time, and then of course go on, you can become a community manager for years. But I think if you're been a community manager for years, you can of course definitely use your acquired knowledge to at least strive for higher positions or other positions, because um it depends, because I think I'm not sure what the we're talking about job here, because I again why would you get the job? Because you want to earn a monthly income. So I'm not sure how the market is for community managers right now, what the monthly income is. But of course, if you're looking for a long term job, I'm just saying this again because of my I've been working for almost 9 years now, since my job in corporate. So if you're looking for long term, you have to think of advancing either your position or your earnings, because if you've been working for like 10 years and you're still getting the same salary, then that's all on you. Okay, I think, yeah, that's the last part of the that's the last part of the question. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. We're 1 hour, yeah. So it's about an hour. I think it's not that long. We stopped at around the 45-minute mark and just answered questions from the community. So I hope you learned a lot in this workshop session. It's our first global or English community workshop. So if you guys think it's a good, we will continue. Of course, you have to tell us that we did a good job. So if you want to learn more, you can give us ideas on what topics you want to hear from us. If you want, maybe because we have our own marketing team, we have our own creative team. If you want any topics, related to that, you can tell us, and then we'll hold and draft another workshop for everyone to learn more skills or more ideas. So, flashed in the screen is our social. So, we have our Twitter. Make sure to follow us for updates. If you want to be part of our community, this is the global community. So, at Rosion on Telegram, and then of course our website. So our website contains, if you're really new to the project and you want to first learn about Rosion, about our partners, investors, product line, our website is your to go to, because you learn a lot from our website. We also have articles there, or blog posts, some updates, market updates, or even some learning articles. So you can go to our news and articles portion of our website to learn more. So that's it. Again, thank you everyone. Well, it's evening here, so I hope everyone has a great day, or if it's also evening in your part. So have a wonderful evening. If you're planning to go out, stay safe. And thank you again. See you everyone. See you on the community. Bye.